Hi, I'm Emily from the Darling Dogwood, and I want to show you my Island Batik Ambassador project from October. We were told to pick one of the bag patterns of Patterns by Annie from byannie.com, and I absolutely love her patterns. And I picked an older pattern of hers called Totally Trendy Totes 2. Try saying that 5 times fast. And this pattern makes tote bags in 3 sizes. She starts with medium. So medium, large, and extra large. And I had chosen to make the medium and the large with fabrics from the Flower Pot line. That's a fall line. It's actually a line that came out this fall. And I made the medium first, which I would consider kind of a standard size tote. And then I made the large, and my plan was to make the third one, which I used fabrics from the Daisy May collection, to make the extra large. But when I made the large, it was so large that I decided I didn't actually want an extra large. I was making these just before a beach trip with my family, and we all kind of had an impromptu meeting after I made this one and was like, do you think we would use one that's bigger than this? And we all decided we would not. So this one is very roomy. It's very large. Like I said, we did take it to the beach. For us, a family is 3 people. Totally fit a family's worth of beach towels in, no problem. We agreed that if we loaded up a bag bigger than this, we wouldn't want to carry it. So I chose to make another large instead, but there is one size bigger than these. Because these are one of her older patterns, I wanted to kind of talk through some of the things that normally she would do in the videos she has, which explains the project. Each bag calls for 3 fabrics, and of course you can use more. The main fabric, which is the main part of the bag, and the pockets, the coordinating, and then an inside lining fabric. Now, what I did for mine, there's also a border on both the top and the bottom. And you can see on this one, I put both borders on. The top border, which is one of the coordinating fabrics, is completely decorative. You can leave that off. And I left it off. I love these daisy prints. And I left it off on the 2 that had the main print as the daisy because I didn't want to cover any of that up. The bottom border is functional. It does cover up raw seams. So you do need that bottom border. But the top, if you prefer the look of just more of your main fabric, like I did with these 2, you can do that. Again, this one, because it was bigger, because it's the bigger bag, it had a whole row of those daisies. So I was fine with using it that way. The bag is designed without any inside pockets. It just has 2 slip pockets on either side of the front. Now, one thing that I changed, because I've done a lot of her patterns and kind of know her techniques, is I did keep the slip pocket on one side, and then on the other side of each bag, I did a zippered pocket. I cut it the exact same size. I just used, because I've done others of her bags, I used techniques I've used elsewhere. Specifically, I actually got out the Out and About pattern, which is a backpack I made last year for the Island Batik Annie Bag Challenge, and used the exact same process. The pocket is the same size. You do lose a little bit of height because you've got that top part. I personally like having a zippered pocket on the outside. You don't have to change anything. You'll also notice that I did 2 different fabrics on my pockets. That's because I'm very visual in my memory. And if I'm putting something in a pocket, I want to remember, oh, did I put that in the flower on the side that matches or the bright pink side? So this is just another fabric from the Flower Pot line. In the case of this one, that fell right down. My zippered pocket is the same fabric on this side, and then I did a nice little applique daisy, which I used my AccuCut for. On this one, again, that one's the slip pocket, and then on this one, the one that coordinates, again, is my zippered pocket that I added the zipper to, and then it's actually, if you'll notice, I had a little bit left already on the foam when I cut this one out, and so I was able to just use it as a fabric. So the rest of these fabrics are Daisy May collection. This one is that Flower Pot collection. One of the things that I like about Island Batik fabrics is within a season, a lot of the fabric motifs are the same. They're just in different colorways for different lines. So that means they mix and match really well. Like if I hadn't told you that these were 2 different fabric lines, you might have thought they could have easily, because they have similar patterns to them and colors, could have all been from the same fabric line. Now I mentioned that the bag as written does does not have any internal pockets. Instead, there's, as part of the pattern, or what she calls these project bags that are made mostly with vinyl that are sized to fit directly into the bag. And it is a really nice fit. I will admit that I could tell with this part, the project bag, that this was an older pattern. I feel like her techniques have gotten much, much better and easier to follow. I did not find it super easy. It wasn't hard. It just, some of it, I feel like there was probably a better way, and she has since found it. I did use the same fabric on the binding as what's on the main fabric of the outside of this bag. It does work really well, though. I've been keeping fabrics for a project in it. She also has another pattern, confusingly also called project bags, but it's a separate pattern that has more of the fabric around it, but still has a vinyl window. I did attempt to make internal pockets because of the way the bag's constructed. I didn't like any of the things I tried. I would just make other smaller things if you wanted additional ways to store things in your bag. Again, this one is sized to be perfect in there. I have a list of things I want to make sure I remember to mention. So one of the things that I added completely on my own, it's not in the pattern, is on each of the bags I added just a hanging loop with a hook, because on some of the commercially made bags I've learned I like having a place. I always have my keys on a clip. I like having a place to put my keys in the bag so that I know right where they are and I don't have to dig through my bag for them. So that is something I added on my own. I use similar techniques to how she a lot of her bags that have D-rings on them, she has a way that she kind of attaches them to the bag themselves. Not necessarily as a key fob, but just there. I use that technique to make mine. So that is not in the pattern, but that is something I added that I would do again. Same with the zippered pocket. So those are additions, again, because I've made other zipper bags that I felt comfortable modifying. The bag does have 2 different handle lengths. For all of them, I did the long handle length, and I like that better because I'm someone who likes my tote bag over my shoulder. I did on this bag make a mistake. It was my mistake, not a mistake in the pattern. These are still a little bit longer than the short handle length, but that's the one thing I don't like about this bag. It's a little too short for where I like it, but that's again because I made a mistake, not because there was anything with the pattern. But if you like it to go over your shoulder, I do recommend that longer length. If you want to hold it more like a handbag, then you can do the shorter handle lengths. There is also a removable sleeve for a bottom stabilizer. I didn't make a bottom for the smaller bag because I didn't really feel like it needed it. The bigger one, I do feel like it's nice to have something. And I just have foam core. I get it at the dollar store in that to kind of give the bottom a little bit of stability. This is one of the most straightforward, and I would even say simple bags of Annie's that I have made. I really enjoyed making it, sewed up very fast. Because it's an older pattern, it does not have the add-on video that goes through some of the trickier steps. Really, the only tricky-ish step is the zipper is kind of inset and closes. It's also optional. You can leave it off if you don't care about the bag zipping. I did want mine to zip. But on one of her live videos, which you can find the recording of on YouTube, she does walk you through her technique for that drop-in zipper. So that part I was able to watch. That was really the only part that is tricky at all. And you can see, again, I did do that on all of those. So there's a big zipper across the top, drop-in zipper, and it lays flat against the inside of the bag, so it's not in your way when you're digging through the bag. I really like the size of both the medium and the large. Again, I felt like the extra large would be too big, which is why I ended up making a second large and not an extra large. I've been really happy with these. I've been using them. Truth be told, I made them in July, so I've been using them for a couple months, and I've loved them. So I highly recommend the pattern if you're looking for just a simple tote bag. Again, I kind of think of this as a kind of a standard tote bag. This is a nice, big, roomy one. And that was totally Trendy Totes 2, I believe is actually how it's listed on her website. One of the patterns from Patterns by Annie. I will say I've been quilting for a little over 25 years, and every so often I would try to make a bag. I think, I could do that. And then I would try and I would get frustrated and it would be a disaster, and I would stop and never finished the bag. And then like 5 years later, I would see a cute pattern and I would think, oh, I can do that. Surely it's not as bad as I remembered. And I would try and it would be as bad. It would be as bad as I remembered. And I kind of repeated that pattern until my second ambassador year, 2020, was the first year that Annie sponsored a challenge and I had to do one. And there's something about her patterns and the way she writes them that just clicks in my head in a way that previous and other patterns did not. So since then, I've made more than just the one a year I do for Island Batik. I've just completely fallen in love with her patterns, and those are the only bag patterns I will make. But again, this is one of the simpler ones I've done. So that is the Totally Trendy Totes 2 pattern made with Island Batik fabrics. This was from the Daisy May line. These two were from the Flower Pot line. And I'm Emily from the Darling Dogwood. Thanks for watching.